ExamPrep.School. Tennessee Property Insurance Producer Exam, Exam Code INSTN-Prop3 or OPTN-Prop03. There are 4 practice exams in this series. This video covers Practice Exam 1. The first 20 questions are free. In this video, we will be covering the following major categories for Practice Exam 1. Insurance terms and related concepts, policy provisions and contract law, Tennessee laws and departmental rules, common to life, A&H, property, casualty, Tennessee laws and rules, pertinent to property insurance only, types of policies. Let's walk through the format. I'll read each question and its choices. Let's get started. Question 1. Which of the following conditions is a requirement for an applicant to qualify for an HO2 broad form homeowners policy? A. The dwelling must be constructed of brick, stone, or stucco to qualify. B. The property may be vacant for up to 60 consecutive days annually without penalty. C. Coverage extends to secondary structures regardless of ownership status. D. The dwelling must be owner-occupied as the insured's primary residence. A countdown circle appears in the top right. Once it completes, the answer is revealed. You can pause at any time if you'd like longer to think. If you'd like additional practice covering more topics, see the description for our book. The correct answer is D. The HO2 broad form requires that the insured both own and occupy the residence as their primary home. Other conditions listed are not eligibility criteria for HO2 coverage. Reason A is not correct. Policy eligibility does not depend on specific construction materials of the dwelling. Reason B is not correct. Vacancy restrictions under HO2 typically limit vacancy to much shorter periods or exclude longer vacancies. Reason C is not correct. Secondary structures are covered only if they are owned by the insured and directly related to the primary residence. Question 2. Which of the following perils is covered under the HO2 broad form homeowners policy? A. Volcanic eruption. B. Weight of ice, snow, or sleet. C. Flood. D. Wear and tear or gradual deterioration. The correct answer is B. HO2. Broad form specifically names weight of ice, snow, or sleet as a covered peril. The other listed perils are either excluded or covered under different forms. Reason A is not correct. Volcanic eruption is covered under some policies but not listed among HO2, broad form named perils. Reason C is not correct. Flood is excluded and must be covered by a separate flood policy. Reason D is not correct. Wear and tear or gradual deterioration is specifically excluded under homeowners policies. Question 3. Under the HO3 special form, losses to the dwelling are insured on which basis? A. Named perils only. B. Open perils except those specifically excluded. C. Broad form perils as defined under HO2. D. Limited to fire and lightning perils. The correct answer is B. HO3 special form provides open perils coverage for the dwelling, meaning all direct physical losses are covered unless explicitly excluded in the policy. Reason A is not correct. Named perils basis applies to personal property in HO3, not the dwelling. Reason C is not correct. HO3 open perils exceed HO2, broad forms limited named peril list. Reason D is not correct. Coverage under HO3 is broader than just fire and lightning perils. Question 4. Under an HO3 special form homeowners policy, the amount of coverage for personal property is typically what percentage of the dwelling limit? A. 30%. B. 50%. C. 70%. D. 100%. The correct answer is B. In an HO3 special form, Personal property coverage is generally set at 50% of the dwelling coverage amount, unless the insured chooses a different limit. Reason A is not correct. 30% is below the standard default percentage for personal property under HO3. Reason C is not correct. 70% exceeds the typical default for personal property under HO3. Reason D is not correct. 100% would require an endorsement or special selection, not the default HO3 limit. Question 5. Which of the following applicants would be eligible to purchase an HO4 broad form policy? A. An owner of a condominium unit desiring coverage for personal property and dwelling. B. An owner-occupant of a duplex seeking coverage for the structure. C. A tenant renting a single-family home and insuring only personal property. D. A landlord renting a multi-unit property to tenants for income. The correct answer is C. HO4 broad form is designed for tenants who do not own the dwelling and require coverage for personal property and liability without insuring the structure. Reason A is not correct. Condominium owners need an HO6 policy, not an HO4 tenant form. Reason B is not correct. Owner-occupants require an HO3 or similar policy covering the dwelling itself. Reason D is not correct. Landlords require commercial or dwelling fire policies, not the tenant-focused HO4 form. Question 6. Kevin rents an apartment under an HO4 policy. One morning he discovers that someone has stolen his bicycle from the common hallway. Which of the following best describes coverage C for his loss? A. Coverage is available only if the bicycle was stored inside the apartment at the time of theft. B. Coverage applies only to personal property inside Kevin's rented unit. C. The loss is excluded because bicycles require a separate scheduled endorsement. D. The stolen bicycle is covered under an open perils theft provision. The correct answer is D. Under an HO4 contents form, coverage C provides named theft coverage for personal property in insured locations and certain areas of premises used by the insured, including hallways, so the stolen bicycle is covered. Reason A is not correct. Coverage C under HO4 includes theft from areas of premises used by the insured, such as hallways, not only inside the apartment. Reason B is not correct. Coverage under an HO4 extends to personal property in certain areas of the building used by the tenant, not just inside the unit. Reason C is not correct. Scheduling is required for high-value items like jewelry, not for a standard bicycle under HO4 theft coverage. Question 7. During a cold snap, Jamie's HO5 policy's dishwasher supply line bursts, flooding his kitchen and damaging his drawers of silverware and linens. Under coverage C of his HO5 homeowner's policy, which statement best describes his personal property loss? A. Excluded unless an endorsement for water damage is added to the policy. B. Covered only if the loss is caused by a specifically listed peril. C. Subject to a $1,000 sublimit for water discharge losses under coverage C. D. Covered as an open peril without a separate additional water damage limit. The correct answer is D. An HO5 provides open peril coverage for personal property, so accidental discharge of water from a plumbing system is a covered peril under coverage C without applying a separate additional coverage limit for water damage. Reason A is not correct. Water damage is a covered peril in HO5, open perils coverage C, and does not require a special endorsement. Reason B is not correct. HO5 does not restrict personal property losses to named perils. It uses an open perils basis. Reason C is not correct. Additional water damage limits apply under HO3 but are not separate under the open perils HO5 form. Question 8. While dusting her shelves, Maria accidentally knocks her expensive ceramic sculpture off its stand, shattering it into pieces. Under coverage C of her HO5 policy, How is her loss treated? A. Covered only if the breakage results from a named peril such as windstorm. B. Excluded because breakage of fragile articles is not a covered peril. C. Covered as an open peril loss subject to the policy deductible. D. Covered solely if scheduled on a valuable articles endorsement. The correct answer is C. An H05 provides open peril coverage for unscheduled personal property, so accidental breakage of a fragile article is a covered loss under coverage C, subject only to the policy deductible. Reason A is not correct. H05 does not limit coverage C to named perils. It covers all perils except those listed as exclusions. Reason B is not correct. Breakage of personal property is covered under the open perils H05 form unless specifically excluded. Reason D is not correct. Scheduling is optional for extremely high-value items. Unscheduled property is still covered on an open perils basis. Question 9. Which of the following perils is covered under the basic form, DP1, of a dwelling policy without adding any endorsements? A. Internal explosion. B. Weight of snow, ice, or sleet. C. Civil commotion. D. Volcanic eruption. The correct answer is A. The basic form of the DP1 policy automatically includes coverage for fire or lightning and internal explosion. Other perils require endorsements or broader forms. Reason B is not correct. Weight of snow, ice, or sleet is only included under the broad DP2 form, not the basic form. Reason C is not correct. Civil commotion is provided by the extended coverage endorsement, not the DP1 basic form. Reason D is not correct. Volcanic eruption is part of the extended coverage and must be added, not included by default. Question 10. Which peril is provided only by the extended coverage endorsement EC under a DP1 dwelling policy? A. Hail. B. Collapse of building. C. Theft of dwelling contents. D. Vermin damage to structure. The correct answer is A. The extended coverage endorsement for DP1 includes named perils such as hail, collapse and theft require broader or separate endorsements, and vermin damage is not covered. Reason B is not correct. Collapse of building is covered under the broad DP2 form, not the DP1 extended coverage endorsement. Reason C is not correct. Theft of dwelling contents is not included in the DP1 extended coverage endorsement without a separate theft endorsement. Reason D is not correct. Vermin damage is specifically excluded and is not provided by the DP1 extended coverage endorsement. Question 11. Which of the following perils is included under the broad form, DP2, but not under the DP1 extended coverage endorsement? A. Weight of snow, ice, or sleet. B. Volcanic eruption. C. Aircraft collision. D. Civil commotion. The correct answer is A. The broad form. DP2 adds coverage for weight of snow, ice, or sleet, which is not part of the DP1 extended coverage perils. The others are included under DP1 extended coverage. Reason B is not correct. Volcanic eruption is one of the DP1 extended coverage perils. Reason C is not correct. Aircraft collision is covered under the DP1 extended coverage endorsement. Reason D is not correct. Civil commotion is included in the DP1 extended coverage endorsement. Question 12. Under the special form DP3 of a dwelling policy, which of these perils is explicitly excluded? A. Earth movement. B. Smoke damage. C. Falling objects. D. Weight of ice and snow. The correct answer is A. The special form DP3 is open peril, but specifically excludes earth movement. The other listed perils are insured unless another exclusion applies. Reason B is not correct. Smoke damage is covered under the DP3 open peril provisions. Reason C is not correct. Falling objects are insured under the DP3 form unless caused by an excluded event. Reason D is not correct. Weight of ice and snow is covered under the DP3 open peril form. Question 13. Which of these is included as part of coverage A, dwelling, under a dwelling property policy? A, a deck attached to the main dwelling. B, a detached storage shed. C, landscaping and plants. D, personal furniture inside the dwelling. The correct answer is A. Coverage A protects the dwelling and structures attached to it, such as a deck. Detached sheds, landscaping, and personal property are covered under other coverages or not at all. Reason B is not correct. A detached shed is covered under coverage B, not coverage A. Reason C is not correct. Landscaping and plants fall under coverage C or are excluded, not part of the dwelling. Reason D is not correct. Personal furniture is covered under coverage C, not coverage A. Question 14. A homeowner's DP3 policy provides a coverage A limit of $200,000. A detached garage used solely for personal storage is located 30 feet from the dwelling. After a windstorm, the garage sustains $30,000 in damage. How much will the insurer pay under coverage B of this policy? A, $10,000. B, $20,000. C, $30,000. D, $50,000. The correct answer is B. This option reflects the standard coverage B limit, which is 10% of the coverage A amount. The other figures either understate or exceed that percentage-based limit. Reason A is not correct. This amount represents 5% of the dwelling limit, but coverage B is set at 10%, not 5%. Reason C is not correct. Although this matches the actual damage, the policy caps coverage B at 10% of coverage A, so full damage beyond that cap is not paid. Reason D is not correct. A payment this large would exceed the 10% coverage B cap and assumes an optional higher limit that was not purchased. Question 15. An insured carries a DP3 dwelling policy that provides actual cash value settlement on coverage C personal property losses. The insured wishes to have losses to personal belongings settled at replacement cost. Which endorsement must be added to achieve this coverage? A, scheduled personal property endorsement. B, replacement cost personal property endorsement. C, guaranteed replacement cost coverage. D, broad theft endorsement. The correct answer is B. This endorsement modifies the policy to pay replacement cost for personal property losses, while the other endorsements either schedule specific items, apply only to the dwelling, or cover theft perils only. Reason A is not correct. This endorsement only schedules and values selected items, not all personal property for replacement cost. Reason C is not correct. Guaranteed replacement cost applies to the dwelling structure, not to personal belongings. Reason D is not correct. This endorsement extends theft coverage only and does not change the settlement basis from cash value to replacement cost. Question 16. Which of the following is not one of the four primary components of the commercial package policy, CPP? A, common policy declarations. B, common policy conditions. C, interline endorsements. D, experience rating schedule. The correct answer is D. The experience rating schedule is not a component of the CPP. The four primary components are the common policy declarations, common policy conditions, coverage parts, and interline endorsements. Reason A is not correct. Common policy declarations are one of the required components of the CPP. Reason B is not correct. Common policy conditions are a core part of the CPP structure. Reason C is not correct. Interline endorsements are included as one of the CPP's primary components. Question 17. Which line of insurance must always be written on a monoline policy and cannot be incorporated into a commercial package policy? A. Commercial crime. B. General liability. C. Auto liability. D. Ocean marine. The correct answer is D. Ocean marine insurance is excluded from the CPP and must be written as a monoline policy. Other lines such as commercial crime, general liability, and auto liability can be packaged under the CPP. Reason A is not correct. Commercial crime coverage can be included as a coverage part under the CPP. Reason B is not correct. General liability is one of the standard coverage parts available in a CPP. Reason C is not correct. Auto liability can be added as a coverage part within the CPP. Question 18. Under the building and personal property coverage form, which of the following would be ineligible for coverage? A. Motor vehicles held for sale by the insured. B. Stock of merchandise located in the described premises. C. Furniture and fixtures used in the insured's operations. D. Property of others in the insured's care, custody, or control. The correct answer is A. Motor vehicles held for sale are specifically excluded under the BPPP form. The other items listed are covered as business personal property. Reason B is not correct. Stock of merchandise at the described premises is covered business personal property. Reason C is not correct. Furniture and fixtures used in operations are covered under the BPP form. Reason D is not correct. Property of others in the insured's care is included as covered business personal property. Question 19. Under a standard commercial property form's coverage, A. Building includes fixtures and equipment permanently attached to the premises. Blair's Artisan Bakery has the following items inside and immediately outside her bakery. Which item would be covered as part of the building under coverage A? A. Freestanding refrigerated display case plugged into a wall outlet. B. Display shelving bolted to the floor in the main sales area. C. Illuminated neon sign resting on a concrete block near the entrance. D. Portable coffee cart wheeled outside for weekend markets. The correct answer is B. The shelving is considered a fixture when firmly bolted to the floor, making it part of the building under coverage A. The other items are movable business personal property and are not permanently attached. Reason A is not correct. The display case, though plugged in, is freestanding and not permanently attached, so it is business personal property. Reason C is not correct. A sign merely resting on a block is not permanently affixed, so it is business personal property, not part of the building. Reason D is not correct. The coffee cart is portable equipment used outside and not permanently attached, classifying it as business personal property. Question 20. Herbal essence. Apothecary carries inventory under a business owner's policy. Coverage B extends to business personal property in or within 100 feet of described premises. Which location would qualify for coverage B? A. Customer laptops left overnight in a locked van parked 40 feet from the shop entrance. B. Holiday decorations stored at the owner's private residence 50 feet from the shop. C. Product samples displayed at a trade show booth 60 feet from the insured premises. D. Office supplies in a storage unit owned by the insured 150 feet from the retail shop. The correct answer is A. Coverage B includes business personal property and vehicles on the insured premises or within 100 feet, so the laptops in the locked van nearby are covered. Other locations fall outside described premises or are not insured under this coverage. Reason B is not correct. Property at the owner's private residence, even within 100 feet, is not part of the described insured premises. Reason C is not correct. Trade show booths off the insured premises are not covered regardless of distance. Reason D is not correct. The storage unit is more than 100 feet away, so property there is not covered under coverage B. Enjoyed this practice test? Tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with a classmate. Got a question we should tweak? Comment below, we read them all. Find full practice exam books in the description or at ExamPrep.School.